Hello, hello, friends, and welcome back to the Photographer Podcast. I'm your host, Jamie Bugbee, and I help photographers build full-time photography businesses on their websites via Google so they can get off of social media and start living their life. So this is the last episode of season 2, and I'm really excited to wrap this season up, and I am incredibly proud of what I've done. I did this on a whim. I'm just gonna be really transparent in this episode, and I've got like an outline to my left that I'm looking at, but I'm probably not even gonna look at it. But I've been wanting to do a podcast for a while, and one of the photographers in my state, she said, I'd really love to do a podcast interview or something. I was like, screw it, let's do it. And then that's how it started. So Casey, if you're listening, thank you. You're the one that really helped me push this to get started because I was like, you know what, F it. I don't know what I'm doing. We'll figure it out. And you probably have been able to tell in the beginning, like my audio was terrible and I didn't really know what the hell I was doing, but you know what? In this season of my life, I just don't care. I am moving forward without perfection. I have been a perfectionist for all of my life, especially if you're a woman. I think you can relate to this. It's like everything has to be perfect before you do something, and I got to be nice, and I got to be this, and I'm afraid I'm going to offend somebody. And I was like, you know what? Screw that. I'm done with that. I'm just going to move forward, and I'm just going to be me, and all that encompasses that. Even if it scares the shit out of people, I scare the shit out of myself. And I am going to be dropping a few cuss words on this one because you know what? That's who I am. So if you got kiddos with you, this one might require some earmuffs. So just heads up. Okay, so I want to talk about the story that I haven't really shared yet about how I got started and my story. It's very raw and it's scary for me to tell, but I'm going to share it anyway. So instead of like doing teaching tips, things like that, I really wanted you to get to know me a little bit more. I feel like most people have a little bit, but I'm going to share a little bit more about my personal life and how I got to where I am now. But before I do, I want to talk about just a few things that I'm most excited about for season 3 and this next year. So my first one is my mentorship. As most of you know, I have a course called The Booked Photographer, and it has grown to beyond like belief. Like the students that I have, I am so proud of them. It could make me cry. Like they have learned so much. And when I first started, I was so nervous to take on new students that maybe knew a little bit about SEO or websites or marketing. And I was like, oh, I don't think I can help them. Like I don't want to take their money if I'm not totally sure I can do this. And what I've realized is that there's so many moving parts of this marketing system on your website that I actually can. And I've done it really well. And I'm really proud of that because it's so rewarding to me to see them grow and to learn more things. And I'm in mentorships myself. I have 2 mentors right now. And I invest in myself all of the time. And so anyways, I'm really excited about that. And I'm just incredibly proud of my students and that I got out of my own comfort zone and said, you know what, I actually can help these people. And my imposter syndrome was lying to me. And it wasn't true that I said I couldn't help people and that I didn't know what I was doing, because I think we can all relate to that, whether you're an educator or you're doing photography, you always second guess yourself. I want to tell you, just do it. Whatever the thing is that you're scared of, I want you to just do it. Okay? I did it. It was scary as hell. I wanted to pee my pants, but I did it anyway. Okay. The second one is the women that I have met. This is so special to me because I have really felt like since I started my business and my career, I went to college for dental hygiene. I had my bachelor's degree and as a dental hygienist, and I worked really, really incredibly hard for that. And when I had my children, I wanted to leave, and I'll get into more of that later, but I cannot tell you, whether you were a student of mine or somebody on the podcast or somebody that I've been talking to on Instagram or I've met at a retreat, you are so incredibly inspiring to me. And I want you to know, like, that's what keeps me up at night. It keeps me excited. And I see you cooking dinner, picking up the kids, supporting your family, trying to take care of yourself when there's just like no freaking time to do it. And you're doing it. So every time I interview somebody, I'm just very inspired. And I just want to say how much I love you and I see you and you're not alone. We're all here doing this together and we can do it. The third is the community. I genuinely have realized how much I love photographing families, but equally helping photographers. I love like getting in the DMs and chatting with new followers and seeing where they're at and how I can help them. And I I am genuinely excited to see what I can do for them and help them, because I've been in their shoes and I know what that feels like, to feel lost and like you've paid for services and you've been investing in yourself here and there. And you're seeing the needle move a little bit, but you know there's more and you want to do that. I want you to know, like, I've been there too, and keep investing in yourself, keep growing. You are going to get there. So big on the community, not only in the podcast, but on my social media. If you're following me, a photo marketing coach on Instagram, or you are in my course on the community, I have just felt so inspired by all of you, and it has meant so much. So now I want to go into my story and what I wanted to share with you and how I kind of got started, because I love hearing how people got started. So I hope that you stay and listen. So before photography, I was a dental hygienist. I worked really, really hard to get there. Getting into dental hygiene school is incredibly challenging. And where I lived, it was really challenging. So I waited 3 years to get in while I was going to school. And I finally got in. I was so proud of myself. And during dental hygiene school, I went through a really painful divorce. And that was a long time ago now. But during that time, it was one of the hardest times of my life. I just was realizing my worth and my boundaries and who I was. And long story short, by the time I graduated and we were separated and starting to go through a divorce, I learned that I actually liked myself, and I didn't like myself with that person and the person I have become. I'm not blaming that person, but I am going to say, like, I didn't make the best choices for myself, and being in a relationship that wasn't healthy for me was really bad. And I don't know why I did that. I don't think I had a lot of confidence back then, but as I've grown, I'm really proud of myself, and I have learned to really like myself, and even being alone with myself. I travel to Palm Springs for work, and I take myself out to dinner. I do things on my own. Even when I'm at home, I do things on my own, and I've really learned to really love myself. So I'm so proud of that. But I was a dental hygienist. I graduated, got divorced, and I loved my job. It was what got me up in the morning. I was whistling before I was going to work. I was excited about it. I had worked so hard to get there. And I started to feel a little bit off about the 4th or 5th year in. And I was working in an office that wasn't a good fit for me. It became a little bit toxic, and I should have left around then. And I did. And I ended up staying for 12 years. And after I had my son, I wanted to leave, but I walked in and his picture was on the hearth in the office that I worked, because I worked in a really old building. And I was like, no, I don't want to leave. You know, they get me, they trust me. I knew if I had an emergency, I could leave. And I just felt like I needed to stay. And I did. And then I got pregnant again 3 years later. I had my daughter, and that was October of 2019. So it was right before COVID, and COVID was definitely the nail in the coffin for me, and I was ready to go. So rewinding a little bit, when I had my son, I had really bad postpartum depression and anxiety and intrusive thoughts. And I thought I was losing my mind, and I did not know that other women experienced it. I had no idea what it was. I thought I had made a mistake becoming a mother, not him. He was perfect. He was wonderful. But I thought, I don't think I can do this. Like, I really second guessed my ability to be a mom, which was so crazy, because I was pretty confident in a lot of other things in my life. I'd gone to school, I had my own home, and I was doing, like, quote unquote, well, I guess. But once I had my son with my second husband, who was amazing, I struggled greatly, and he was very colicky as well. And it was really hard because I heard a lot of comments about it was like my fault, and that I was just tired, and that, baby's crying. I was like, this seems excessive though. And it was. I think he was in pain and having a lot of tummy problems. And it took him about 4 months to not be screaming a lot. I mean, it got better slowly, but I thought he was going to die, and I thought it was going to be my fault. And I was so terrified. And I just thought, you know what, what if something happens to him and I can't take care of him? It was terrifying. So anyways, fast forward, we got through that. He got better. We were kind of like in this new normal. And then I had my daughter, and she was pretty chill for 4 weeks. Then she got colicky too. And that was really challenging. But by then I was like, I know what this is. If she's still colicky after 12 weeks, then I'll lose my mind. But if she'll probably get better by then, because I'd learned, right? And at 11 and a half weeks, it was like a light switch. Like she was just like better. I mean, of course she cried and, she needed something, but it wasn't like this painful cry from like 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. that didn't stop. So I was like really proud of myself. I was like, okay, bring it on. I know this is colic. I'm going to get through it and it's okay. And I'm going to make it. And of course I struggled and it wasn't easy, but I did it. And when I had to go back to work in March, I was dreading it so much, and I had started to hear about COVID, and I was like, okay, COVID, whatever. I was kind of like, whatever. I wasn't that worried about it. I didn't really understand what was happening yet. And I went back to work in March, and the moment I went back, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I have to get out of here. I don't want to be here. I want to be with my kids. I hate leaving them. I wanted to be home. And I was like, had worked on my business here and there, and I was definitely like getting paid for photography here and there. I wasn't charging enough. Like I was still like in this newish learning discovery mode, but I really, really wanted out. I was like, this is it. I'm going all in. I want to do it. And I had quit that job and I went to a new one. I absolutely loved it there, but it was 12-hour shifts and my body was killing me and I needed out. I was like, this is too much. I was so sad to leave that job, but I ended up taking another job at another dental office, and then it was like really slow. So it was like complete opposite. So I was like going home early and I was like not getting enough hours. I was like, oh shit, now I'm not making enough money. What do I do now? And I thought, and I pray, don't worry, I'm not going to come through podcast speakers and like, hold you down and baptize you and make you a believer. That's not my job. I just want you, this is my story, right? I want to tell you totally transparently. I prayed and I prayed a lot and I was like, okay, God, like if this is your sign, if this is my way out, like take it away. I want this to slowly get taken away. Show me, maybe this is my stepping stone. Maybe this is it, because I was terrified. I was like, what am I doing? So at the time, I went ahead and joined the Elena S. Blair mentorship, and it gave me permission. I mean, in a nutshell, it was amazing, but it gave me permission to invest in myself and say, I'm a photographer and I'm going to go for it. And I really needed that. As simple as that sounds, that 4 or 5 months I was in that program, I can't remember how long it was, I think it's 5 months. Changing my mindset to that was huge. So I did that and I was like, screw it, I'm doing it. So I got done with that program. I joined another one and it was okay. It wasn't the best. It was okay, but I learned a lot of what I didn't want to do. And that was also really insightful. And then I think I did one more and then I found another one and it was like the biggest investment I have ever made in my business. It was terrifying. I had to take a loan out. I think I might have sold something and it was so scary. And I thought about it for a year and I didn't join. And then I was like, okay, I'm doing it. Like I was so sick and tired of being where I was at. And I really felt confident that this course could help me. So I did it. It completely changed my life. And I would say maybe 10 months after I joined that course, I jumped. I was like, I'm doing it. I'm leaving. So I jumped. I left that job and I'm going to be honest. I was broke as shit for a while. For about 3 months, I was like, okay, maybe that was not the best choice. But my husband was working swing shift. I was like really struggling and I had to work with the kids. Like I would get home from dental hygiene. I was exhausted. And then my husband would be on swing shift. I would try to get the kids to bed. They wouldn't go to bed. It would take me at minimum an hour, sometimes 2 hours to get to the bed. Then I would just be like, just sleep in the bed with me. And then I'd be up till like midnight 1, sometimes more, getting the work done. So it was hard, but I knew it was going to pay off. I was like, there's just no way in hell I can be working this hard and this can't work. Like I was like, this is going to work. This has to work. There was just like no other choice. Like there's no other option. It's working. So I did that. And then I finally got to a point where I told my husband, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm losing my mind. So he said, quit. And he went to day shift because it was offered to him a couple months before that. And we decided to take them up on that. And I felt like a bald eagle that was in a cage that was just like let out of a cage. And I was like, my gosh, like it's still like, it was like graduating college. It was like just this huge accomplishment. But this was something more. This was about my children and this was about being with them. And every day I wake up, I am still so grateful. I mean, I think that was like almost 3 years now, 3 years ago now. And I wake up every day thankful that I'm here and I can call my own shots. So I'm telling you that because all of the stuff that I did and that was really, really hard, it was worth it. And it was not easy for me. Nothing came like easy for me. Like I just was like, I've got my blinders on. Like I got shit from my family, friends, strangers. They were like, you're too expensive. You're charging too much. Why would you do that? You already have a career. Are you doing this because you don't want to spend time with your kids? I was like, I'm doing this because I want to be with my kids. Like, no, I felt like nobody understood except the community of photographers I was with. Like, they got it, and I just latched onto them, and I was like, they get it. I have to be around these people as much as I can because they were so important to me to I loved being with them, and it helped me grow and it helped me talk things out with them, and I'm so grateful for them. So I left that job, and that spring my inquiries started to come in. I worked really hard on my SEO. I started that September where I was like really understanding it. So it took some months, but I started to get inquiries flowing in, and it was amazing. I mean, my phone was going off all the time. My Apple Watch was like ding, 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 ding. Like, I was getting paid, and it was just like so amazing. And I was like, my gosh, I've finally like quote unquote made it. And I knew I'd probably slow down a little bit in the winter. And I did, but I had a really great year. I think my business grew about 400% that year. And I was doing okay before, but I really needed to grow a lot. So it was great. I did, and it was amazing. And that winter I went ahead and took on a maternity leave for a different hygienist, and I covered for her 2 days a week while I still did photography. So it was great because I knew I'd slow down a bit, but I didn't want to go back to hygiene full time. So it was fine. I did that from November to March. That March started to get inquiries again and got busier. And by then I was like really interested in teaching. And so I created my first course. It was a blogging course. It was like a mini course. And it was like a lot for me because my kids were home. I was picking them up. I didn't have a lot of time. Then I was working in the dental field again, part-time. And I ended up creating it. And then I had like a good handful of students buy it. And then I saw like most of them weren't starting it. And I was like, this is driving me nuts. Like, they could have so much from this. So long story short, I looked into how I can create a course where people would actually do things. And I learned that that's more of like mentorship and one-on-one and longer courses. So that's how I got to create my community and my course that I have now, which is really exciting. But yeah, so that's where I am now. And I'm so grateful. I'm always learning, and I've got so much more to learn. But that is how I got to where I am now and how I left dental hygiene. So I am not here to tell you it has all been sunshine and rainbows. I have had really tough months. I have had really amazing months. And I have had seasons that were tougher than others and really great. So that's normal. I don't know if there's a lot of educators that say that, but I want to be really transparent. Like, when you leave your job, I hope you don't experience that. But if you do, like, that's being an entrepreneur. One of my mentors that I highly respected, he said to me, he's like, welcome to being an entrepreneur. That's normal, and you'll figure it out. And I was like, okay. Like, he just kind of ripped off the Band-Aid and said it. And I was like, you know what? He's right. My dad was an entrepreneur. He had his own concrete business. He did flat work and residential concrete. And I remember my mom saying it was seasons and it was a little bit of up and down. So I wasn't totally blind to that, but I wanted to know how to bring in more consistent inquiries. So I think about that time I was headed back to Palm Springs because I would go to the Elena S. Blair retreat every January. I loved it. And I was like, I wonder, now I know all this SEO stuff and strategy. Out of all these courses I took, it was like starting to really like come together. And I was like, I wonder if I could rank there. So I created a page for Palm Springs. And although I didn't get booked when I went down there because I just made that new page on my site, I did end up getting booked. I think it was for $1,800 3 or 4 months later. And then I got booked again and again. And I went down there and I was using a lot of like my airline points to get down there. So it made sense. I was making money. But then I was like, okay, now I'm out of airline points. And if I'm going to travel, and what I'm offering, I'm all inclusive. Like, it needs to be significantly more. And because I'm giving them everything and I don't offer packages. So I really wanted to create this very high-end experience without feeling stuffy. I didn't want it to feel, I still wanted it to feel like me, down to earth, but yet I've got you. Like, this is going to be super seamless through everything. So I raised my prices for local and there, and I was able to attract people that are, they are incredible. I'm not saying that people that didn't pay me that much before weren't. They were. But I will say there is something about when you charge appropriately for what you're offering, they trust you, they don't second guess, and they know it's going to be an incredible experience. So that's how I started to fill in these areas when I got a little bit slower in the winter. So, Palm Springs is warmer in the winter than it is in Oregon and Washington where I'm based. So I added that, and that was really fun. I could not believe that was happening. Actually, I seriously thought that one of the I don't know, the first or second time I went down there, maybe it was the first time that I had charged like multiple thousands to go there. I thought I could get arrested. I was like, is this legal? Like, can I do this? Like, I was like, this is okay, right? Like, I just could not believe that I could do that. Like, I was like, this just can't be real. It just felt like a dream. It was really exciting. So I did, and I still get booked down there, and it is just incredible. Like, I cannot believe the person and the business that was me 8 years ago to now. And I'm telling you this because wherever you're at, if you're a year in, 3 years in, 10 years in, 20 years in, and you're like, I'm not where I want to be yet, like, you can be. You can DIY it. You can get a mentor, and it will cut your time in half or less than half. It will speed up your results. I will tell you, I've invested in a lot of different courses, and no one's taught me like brain surgery or rocket science, right? But what they have taught me is how to get results faster, which was worth every penny. So I hope that makes sense. Like, once they've like pulled the bag off over my head, so to speak, and we're like, this is how you actually do that thing that you were wanting to learn, and what their offer was, and that's how you do it. I'm like, well, that doesn't seem like that was, totally like something I couldn't have figured out, but it really was. It would have taken me years to like piece all of that together and then do all that. So yeah, I mean, if you're considering a mentor, whether it's, and I'm not just talking about me, anything, if you're considering doing something, I mean, go for it. Like, do it. And if it's way more than you thought you would want to spend, or you feel really uncomfortable doing it, I'm not saying like, if you're not gonna be able to eat after you do it, like, don't do that, right? But if like you can figure out a way to be resourceful and it's something you want to do and you know it's going to help you, just freaking do it. Because once you jump and you join, there's a relief, right? You're like, now I'm going to get help. Now I can do it. And not only that, a bigger investment's going to light a fire under your butt like never before. You're going to do it, right? You've invested, and now you want to really make sure that you utilize your time. So I cannot tell you how amazing that has been for me to do that. So that is my story in a nutshell. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope it's resonated with somebody, and that if you're feeling like your family or your friends don't understand, or you have a career where you're like, I make good money and I either want to go full time and people don't understand, or I'm not sure I can, or maybe you've got a career that you're like, I could do both part time and I'd be totally happy. Like, you can do it. Just do it. You'll find your way. Like, don't give up. I always tell people, when they're like, I just want to quit. And I'm like, I've wanted to quit probably 1,000 times, but I always ask myself, are you going to look back in 6 months to a year and wonder what would have happened if you would have quit? And the answer is always yes. And what if I would have quit, when I was in my third year? I wouldn't be where I'm at. I wouldn't be sitting here in my home working and being with my family and being able to call the shots and being able to do the things that I want to do. I wouldn't be able to do any of that. And I'm so, so grateful that I can do that now. And I remember when I was in my moments of struggling, I was like asking God, I was like, okay, God, if this isn't for me, just close this door, because I'm so tired. I'm so tired of feeling frustrated. Like, as scary as it was, I was like, just slam the door shut, because I don't think I could do it anymore. And it was like little things just kept happening. I was like, okay, maybe that's my sign. I'll just keep going. And I'm so grateful I did. So again, I hope this was somewhat inspiring to you. If not, sorry I wasted your time. I hope you're just in your car drinking a coffee. Maybe your kids are off and you're just having a moment to yourself hearing me yap. But the last thing I want to leave you with is that this podcast for me has helped me come out of my shell so much. I'm really scared that I'm going to be too much for people. I use humor a lot, and I have a kind of an odd sense of humor. And of course I enjoy it, but do other people? I don't know. Maybe they think I'm a total weirdo. I'm sure they do. But I'm kind of okay with that. I'm like, I'd rather be funny and be myself. And if that doesn't work for people, like, that's okay. Like, I genuinely think that's okay. And I could still hang out with him. I could still be in a room with him. And I'm like, that's okay. Doesn't bother me at all. So it's really helped me come out of my shell and be more of myself. So again, I hope this is somewhat inspiring to you. I'm going to stop yapping here. But again, I just want to say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. If you have listened or even listened to one or shared this with somebody, how much I appreciate it. And you are so incredibly inspiring to me and to all my guests that have been on here. Thank you so much for your time. It has meant so much to me, and I hope it was as valuable to you as it was to me. And I appreciate you so much. So with that, I'm going to sign off for season 2. I love you all so much. You can do this. Go kick some ass. Whether you're getting help or not, or somebody's supporting you, just go do it anyway. Let it piss you off. That'll help you go forward. When people told me no, I was like, watch me. You can do it. Anyways, I love you, and I'll see you in season 3.